to tell me I was building a dream, and so I followed the mob. When there was earth to plow or guns to bear, I was always there, right on the job. They used to tell me I was building a dream, with peace and glory ahead. Why should I be standing in line, just waiting for bread?
When the Depression ended, was it very quick?
It gradually, it didn't happen all of a sudden. Like with the Pop, your grandpapa trying to get work. They started to build new high schools. They built one down in Wilmington, and he had his first job down there in a long time. And he went down to Wilmington and was building on the new high school. That's when I had Granville. They happened to get 2 days a weekend. That's how he paid my hospital bill to get out of the hospital. It was $44 for 2 weeks. The doctor charged $25 to deliver the baby. And that was supposed to be a lot of money those days. So, but we made the best of everything, We didn't mind it. We got used to it. If you had $10, then it was like having $50 a day, $50 or $60. $10 was a lot of money. If you got a whole of $6, you could go out and get a big order, a great big wagon full, express wagon full.
Did you? Was everybody happy then?
Yeah, it was all happy, all very, very contented and very happy. Well, we were, because my father, but a lot of people weren't. I mean, a lot of people didn't have enough to eat. We were happened to be one of the lucky ones. How my daddy still having his job. A lot of them just didn't have no work at all. And I think they had some kind of a relief going. They used to give them a margarine and canned soups and things. The government did. But a lot of people didn't have much to eat there. And the winter time, they just had one little stove in the kitchen to keep warm, But we made out pretty good, to count my daddy.
At the end, did everybody start to get jobs?
Yes, gradually everything started to turn around, and the jobs started to come on. Things started to look up, and Roosevelt is when he got it, President Roosevelt. He's when he got in office, he got to be president, and that's when he made everything started to pick up.
Right now, could you tell us what you thought about the Depression?
It taught me a lot. It taught me how to appreciate money and how to handle my money. It taught me a lot. It was hard going through it. You had to sacrifice, but in other words, it did you good. You know what I mean? It did you good because it made you realize. Otherwise, you never, you wouldn't realize.
If that period of time hadn't happened, do you think you would be living differently right now?
I'd be what?
Living differently? I mean, would you think differently about life?
If that time hadn't happened? No, I don't think so. No, I would still live like I do now, the way I am today. But, but it taught a lot of people a lesson. Even people that come into a lot of money in later years, they still are careful with their money because they remember the bad days when there wasn't no money. It made them afraid. You hear lots of them say, never want to be poor again. I hear plenty of them say that.
Well, thank you.
Did you get that?
Yeah.
We learned how to make ice cream too. I didn't tell you that. We couldn't afford to make ice cream. Of course, in the summertime, everybody wanted some cold ice cream. We sit out in the side yard there, and we would sit around talking. But we learned how to make it in electric refrigerators. They hadn't been out very long. Those kind of refrigerators. They used to have the kind that men would bring the ice in, So my mother got one. She had one of the first ones was built. So we used to take canned milk, and the American store used to sell a box of powder. flavored, sometimes strawberry flavored, chocolate flavored. We mixed it all together, and that made it creamy. It wouldn't kept it from getting all icy. So we made our own ice cream. They liked it. They didn't mind it.
Before you had the refrigerators, how did you keep everything cool?
We had a little ice box, wooden ice box, and on one side it had a great big chunk of ice. The iceman would come. Cost you about 35 cents a day for a big chunk of ice, and they put it in there. And the winter time, they didn't get ice. We used to have a little box they put outside the kitchen window for 2 or 3 shelves, a little tin box. And I had one when I went to housekeeping and put it out the apartment window, and we put our food in there. The cold outside kept everything.
Well, thank you for that interview. That concludes my interview with my grandmother.
That was a different way of living, honey, but it wasn't bad. No, it wasn't too bad. Of course, it was bad because that's when my mother died, right during Depression and everything. That was bad time for us then. But as far as us having a nice home to live in, we was just kept nice and warm and everything. But some people weren't that lucky. You know what I mean? Some people just didn't have no money at all. We happened to be one of the lucky ones. But then men was only making $15 a week. Can you imagine a man? Lots of them had to pay rent. Uncle Ted paid $14 a month rent. He had one baby, Faye, and then they kept up their insurance, and they ate pretty good. Aunties knew how to cook good, you know, cheap, and they didn't owe one bill, and didn't owe one nickel. So that's how people had to learn how to handle money. But that made people like they are like today, the older people. They're scared to, they just have a fear, you know. They scared to death of wasting their money. They had any money. That's why I did it to them. They don't ever want to be that poor again.
Well, thank you. Well, that concludes my interview with my grandmother, Mrs. Murray.
So now
Once I built a railroad, I made it run, made it race against time. Once I built a railroad, now it's done.